And Detroit Tigers. Luke Jones will be on the scene down at Camden Yards as the Orioles try to pick it up after the trading deadline. And, of course, fake football upon us next week as the Redskins and Ravens get together, and Luke will be out in Owings Mills. But in Canton, Ohio, 52 weekends from now, we all expect to be there in purple regalia for the great Ray Lewis, who is expected to enter the gold jacket next year. This guy's had a gold jacket for a number of years. A one-time first-round pick out of Arizona State, one of our familiar visitors here during Super Bowl week. He's decided to join us because once a year is not enough to remind people about their PSA number. He knows he's a survivor. We welcome Michael Haynes, Hall of Famer, back onto the program from Canton, Ohio. Mike, good day to you. Happy weekend. And I know this is sort of the cherry and the jimmies and the little cherry on top of the whipped cream when you get to go back every year with the gold jacket, right?
Oh, it's always a fun time. You know, this is the one time of the year where you have everybody, all the Hall of Famers coming back. And you were mentioning the PSA, so that is also the one time a year for a lot of us where we get retested for prostate cancer. And that simple blood test to show your level of your PSA. And since 2009, I'm happy to say that mine has been negligible. So that means I'm doing something right, or I'm still on the good side of the ledger.
Well, you know, so many stories, right? And we hear about CTE and players, and I know that's going to be a topic the next 3 or 4 days, and everyone's worried about that now and I guess forever. It's a violent game, but there are all sorts of afflictions, right, that happen. And I know, Mike Ditka has been around talking to me about things, and, where you are, you have banded together. Part of the Hall of Fame is doing good things, right? I mean, part of that, having that ring and that jacket and that platform is around the year. Everyone has a cause, and my cause, and my wife, two-time leukemia battler, and we tell people to get on the bone marrow registry. That's our message to people. But this is something you take with you everywhere you go, man. You're kind of becoming famous for this.
Well, I don't know about famous, but I'm definitely doing an awful lot of work, and we're making a lot of headway. You know, every year here at the Hall of Fame, we have conversations with guys about prostate cancer. And almost every year, we'll find another player. We'll learn that another player has the disease. Wow. So there's so many men going to get this disease, yet most men are like me. They don't know anything about prostate cancer. They don't know where, even what the prostate gland is located or what it does or a symptom. And more men are going to get prostate cancer than women are going to get breast cancer. But every man even knows.
Well, I didn't know that. That's a hell of a number there, right?
Oh, yeah. 1 in 7 men will get prostate cancer, and 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer. And so African-American men, it's 1 in 5. And if it runs in your family, it's 1 in 3. So it's a lot of men are going to get this disease. And it's a disease that when it's caught early, it's treatable. It doesn't have to be a big, negative situation in your life. If you catch it early. So that's what our campaign is about. It's encouraging men to know their family history, have these conversations with their doctor so they can stay on top of it. It's a simple blood test for the most part, short digital rectal exam, and, guys are good. No problems. And so if there is
usually
a problem,
digital rectal exam usually scares dudes. I'm a 48-year-old guy. That scares me. Yes.
Imagine the doctor saying, okay, try to relax now. You're going right.
Sounds like you've done this before, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Haynes joining us here. He ran like hell back in the 70s and 80s and now is running to tell you about the PSA number that every guy should know about prostate cancer. Tell folks where they can learn more on the web, and then we're going to talk some football and some gold jackets here.
Well, the best place is knowyourstats.org. Knowyourstats.org. And it's a lot of information on there, frequently asked questions, and a lot of other information that may be even in your own local area.
Well, there it is. I'm up on knowyourstats.org, urologyhealth.org as well. Let's let's get a little football in. Word has leaked to me that you live in paradise. In Baltimore, we call that San Diego. But it's a little less like paradise when you lose your football team. And, Mike, you know that as well as I do. You used to come in here to Memorial Stadium back in the 70s with Fataha and Grogan and all those guys back when we were the Baltimore Colts. And then all of a sudden you stopped coming in here when you got out to L.A. And you were also part of a franchise that moved out there. You've lived this story your whole career in one way or another, but it happened to you this time in San Diego.
Yeah, I feel really sorry for fans. There's so many football fans, and really there were a lot of Charger fans. And for their team to move, and even though they moved probably about 100 miles away, it's not the same. They've left their community. You're not going to see the players in the community doing good things and, going to the school, working with the young kids and doing, positive things and encouraging positive development from the kids. So the impact is going to be felt. It hasn't been felt yet, but as soon as the season starts, I think people are going to really recognize that their team has left. So, and the same thing with the Raiders. They're leaving Oakland and headed to Las Vegas, and those fans have been, I feel sorry for them. I really do. It's part. Football is a business, and people forget about that. But that's one of the things that happens. So I feel really sorry for the fans, and hope things work out in the end.
He is Mike Haynes. He is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, and you are in Canton, Ohio. Now, look, we all went out there a few years ago for John Ogden, and we still get excited when the big man, shows his ring and he wears his gold jacket around town sometimes, and I always give him a hard time and have some fun with him. But Ray Lewis could be joining that club next year. For you, in the long tail of this, so many years haven't been a Hall of Famer now, what's it meant to your life?
Oh, gosh, a lot. An awful lot, and I'm really happy. I have to say, when I first was inducted in the Hall of Fame, I can't really say it meant much to my life.
That was 20 years ago, right? So, you were in your early 40s. You got in kind of early, right?
Yeah, I got in kind of early, but it was different. But the only thing was, whenever they introduced me, they would always say Mike Haynes, Hall of Famer. That was about it. But now the Hall of Fame has so many programs where we're going into communities. We're working with the military to help develop young leaders and encourage leadership, and so many development type programs with the youth that it's a lot of fun, and guys are doing things in their community and in others. I've gone to Colorado and Washington and Arizona and all these places to give kids awards that they've won for different things that they've done in their communities. The leadership and doing, civic things, and also being good students. And when I was a kid, growing up in Los Angeles, we had the Dodgers and the Lakers and the Ram players always in our community encouraging us to, be good kids and listen to our parents and all those kinds of things. I think those things help when you're a young teenager and you're starting to feel your oats, get a little testosterone in your body. Having those kind of people around helps. So, the Hall of Fame jacket has given me a special place in my community because people will see me and say positive things about me and the work that we're doing.
Well, I don't know that you're my favorite Hall of Famer because John Ogden's in there, but you're amongst my favorites. You come by every year at the Super Bowl. Every time I see you, you're in front of me, and I'm putting you on the radio, and we're talking about good stuff. And, not everyone does that and gives back the way you are. And I went out there a couple years ago when Ogden went in, and I know you're a part of this, but I woke up in the morning, and, Mike, I hate parades. I got to be honest with you. They happen early in the morning. They block off streets where I live. Sometimes the weather's not so good. And my wife dragged me out of bed in Akron, Ohio, and you know what I'm talking about. And we drove down to Canton, Ohio at 7:30 in the morning, and she's like, come on, man, Ogden's going to ride in this thing. Ozzy's going to ride in this thing. You want to be there. And I didn't want to do it, and I got me a strong cup of coffee, and I got down there on that morning, and here comes Joe Namath, and here comes Terry Bradshaw, and there goes Howie Long, and here comes Michael Haynes, and here's Mike Dick, and and they're all 5 feet away on the back end of a car. And it's 8:30 in the morning. It's a little hot. It's a little sticky. There's some screaming kids. And I thought, man, this is the greatest parade of all time. It's like sort of Disney World for football. And I know you participated in it. But I think everything you touch on a weekend like this is pretty special, right?
It really is. I mean, the whole town, they turn out for the ceremony. A lot of them are volunteers. At the same time, they're having the Hall of Fame induction week. There's a golf tournament going on over in Akron, that Bridgestone tournament. So there's so many local volunteers here, and even people that grew up in the area. I've met some people that they have actually moved away, and they come back every year just so they can volunteer. They might be in California, but they come back this week and volunteer, and they know everybody, know what their responsibilities are going to be, and they just keep the tradition going. It's great. It's awesome. As a Hall of Famer, we feel like this is home. You know, these people are our family, and it's really a great relationship that we have here with the community.
The one thing I would say about the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I'm not knocking it, and you've had that jacket 20 years, but I used to go out there 15, 20 years ago, and part of being a Baltimore guy is going out there and having to visit the Indianapolis Colts to see your childhood, right? But, I mean, the place, I don't want to say it was in disrepair, but it wasn't up to snuff, I thought, 15 years ago, and clearly, I think over the last decade, I get there every year or two because we come in and play the Browns every year, and sometimes I run trips out there. But, that's one place that every time I go, it gets considerably better, And I know they've pumped a lot of money into it, and they are going to make it its own little Disney World there in the middle of Ohio before it's all over with. But I think if you haven't been there in a couple of years and you come back, you're pretty impressed, aren't you?
Oh, you'd be really shocked to see what it looks like now if you haven't been here in a couple of years, or especially 10 or 20 years. And the new executive director, David Baker, he was the commissioner of the Arena League, and so he knows how to put things together. He also is very friendly with the Commissioner Roger Goodell and people in the NFL. He knows several of the NFL owners. He knows how to communicate his message and get things done. And so they're building like crazy here. They're going to have football championships here for high school, for youth. They're coaching where coaches can come get educated, assisted living for Hall of Famers, special performance training, information, tons and tons of research and for athletic type things. You're talking CTE. Well, we can do a study here once this Legends facility is all done. It's great. Today they're actually going to name or put a statue in front of the stadium, the football stadium here, of Tom Benson, who's donated a lot of money to the cause, and that's going to be a little bit later this morning. But yeah, if you haven't been here, you need to come back. It's more interactive. They have some hologram, cool things. One, Joe Namath, where he's actually talking and introducing things and things. He's not really there, but it looks like it. Kind of like a ghost or a hologram or something. So yeah, it's really, really cool.
Well, do you like your bust when you go in there and see it, or does it weird you out?
Well, I have one at home too. So there's one here and there's one in my home. So I see the bust all the time. My son kept it in his room. Now I got to put him. And he's off to college. He's a freshman at Boston College now. And so now I would take it out of his room and put it in my other son's room. So let them talk to the bust at night before they go to bed.
I don't have a bust. Hey, Mike, take care of yourself. I'm going to send everybody out to Know Your Stats and to urologyhealth.org as well. It's always a pleasure to visit with you. Have some fun this weekend, and don't do so much darn media. Go have some good time with your friends, man.
Oh, definitely will, Nestor. Okay.
See you later. Mike Haynes, Hall of Famer, joining us here from Canton, Ohio. We're all expecting it 52 weeks from now. And for all of you asking, yes, I'll be doing a road trip to the Ray Lewis thing. We won't know about that for sure until early February out in Minnesota, where we'll be broadcasting Super Bowl 53 now? Yeah, we're up to 53 at this point. And I'm sure Mike Haynes will be dropping by 6 months from now as well. You can find me out in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device. We got Ravens, Orioles stuff, Kaepernick, Flacco, Perryman. Good grief. The Orioles are trying to stay in the race. If they're in the race at all, we'll find out more when they get to the West Coast next week. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNS TV channel. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.